I'd like to call to order the meeting for September 22nd, 2025. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Finance Director, roll call, please.
Mayor Kurzman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burrill,
Here.
Commissioner Pinder,
Here.
Commissioner Mayfield,
Here.
Commissioner Titicus.
Here.
Okay, I would, for additions, deletions, and changes to the agenda, I would like to move C to new business and make it 4A, which is debris management.
You want to move it?
C or B?
C. And make new business, we'll add new business 4A.
I'll make a motion with the changes, to accept the agenda with the changes made by the mayor.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Vice Mayor Burrill,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinder,
Yes.
Commissioner Mayfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Titicus,
Yes.
Mayor Kurzman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, Town Manager?
You'll need a vote for the consent agenda now.
My light was to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Pinder,
Yes.
Commissioner Mayfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Titicus,
Yes.
Mayor Kurzman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burrill.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, public hearing, trim and budget. Town Manager?
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the main functions that we do in September is, you all know, we had the tentative budget and millage rate that we adopted at the last meeting, and this will be the final adoption. And I need to read the following statutory language into the record. The proposed millage rate of 3.27 mils is greater than the rollback rate of 3.0541 mils by 7.07%. I know we went through the budget and voted in on the tentative. I guess my question on the budget itself is if anybody has any additional questions on the budget.
Commissioner Mayfield?
That was from my motion for the consent.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Vice Mayor?
Okay, in the budget, we have the CIP issue with North Sewell Point Road. I asked to have it moved up from 2028 to 2027 or 2026, the end of 26. And I think that takes a commission vote. I don't think we can just move it. I'd also like to I will make a motion to move when we get the 150,000 from the county, which is supposed to be for North Sewell Point Road, I imagine, is that correct? Into an account that we can keep in that account until we're ready to do the plan design for North Sewell Point, retention area, and the swales.
If I may, I think we've got two.
I think it's good. I think it has to be two separate motions.
Yes, it does. So whichever one you want to handle first, we can.
Yeah, I'd like to,
So
164. I mean, it's all fake money. I mean,
I'll
so
take it.
It just looks better.
the CIP was approved the capital improvement plan was approved at the last meeting with the resolution. And I do believe that was discussed. I can go back and look at the minutes. It might just that I missed it. So this is just the.
Yeah, well, I was told that I had to have the town manager's approval
You mean,
when I brought it up, and that he had to decide whether this stays to where it is or whether we can move it. It's my understanding that the budget right now is in our hands.
So the CIP, what you're voting tonight
Yeah.
is the resolution that has just the overall summary of the budget in the very back. This is the budget document, so we can update the budget document
Oh, okay. So it's a-
separately, but dependent upon the CIP.
right, well, I guess the main thing is if the commission wants to move the date, we can move that in any time out of the CIP. It's just like you said, it's just
Right.
targets that we have right now. And so, even though we adopted it the way it was published, but we can, if your preference is to proffer that to the whole commission, and we just take a vote and we do it.
So would that work for you? Okay. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to move on the CIP plan, the North Sewell's Point stormwater improvements, from 2028, 250,000, and from 2029, 30, the 5-year total, move it to 2027 and backwards, that way.
So move it up a year, correct?
Yeah, move it up a year.
Commissioner
You
Fender.
can't do it for 26, right?
That was my question, so he answered it.
No.
Commissioner Titicus.
Yeah, clarification. Mr. Daniels, you said these are only targets. The 2026 is not a target. That's a budget that we've locked in on. The out years are targets, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's just a clarification.
But-
But we're locked into 2026, this is what's being adopted as the budget.
If I can further clarify that, is a lot of these capital projects depend on having the grant funding to match up with it. So even though this is what we want to do, we have to make sure that we have the funding for it. Case in point, we had to sit back and get more funding for Phase 3 before we could start Phase 3. So we were like a couple years off of what our target date was, I believe, or at least 1 year that I know of, for Phase 3. So it could be something very similar. If we don't have funding to do the project, then, I got to, work harder and get the money in the bank, so to speak.
Commissioner Mayfield.
Yes, I have no problem with your motion. Is it a more accurate, why, is it more accurate to put it in 27, or what is
Well,
the, reason?
I move it to 27 because I'd like to see it
you want to move it along?
moving rather than put it off for so many years.
And I
That's
missed
fine.
it. Was there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Titicus?
Yes.
Mayor Kurzman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burrill?
Yes,
Commissioner Fender?
Yes,
Commissioner Mayfield?
Yes.
Motion passes.
okay. Now for motion number 2, the 150,000 that is allocated for North Sewell's Point Road. I'd like to make that a separate account, or if we put it under joint capital projects like you have down here. It says here, I guess, to be determined. So why don't we put it in that account if we get the money?
Right, just a point of clarification, though, I think what the county is, they're using $150,000 in their budget to cover their costs as part of the project. They're not going to write us a check for $150,000 that we can put into an account. Theirs is to reimburse.
Well, that's not what I understood. I asked that. I said, are they going to give us money? And I got yes.
Well, they committed the $150,000 towards the project, whether, I don't believe that they're going to actually write us a check for $150 because it's part of their joint project if it proceeds, but so far, we don't have any grant funding now for the roadway because they're going with the DOT funding for highways. And so I know it's on their list, but they don't have a grant for it as yet. So, but they did put forward $150,000 to go towards some of the design costs. But since we don't have a grant any longer for it, we're not moving ahead with the design, including the roadway. We're moving in 27 now. We're looking at trying to do something with the drainage for each one of the subdivisions as we move north on Sewell's Point Road.
So you're telling me that because we don't have a grant, they're not going to give us $150,000?
I don't think they ever planned on, like I said, writing a check for $150,000.
Well, I mean, even,
That was their commitment towards the project at the time.
so let's say, are we still going to have that commitment, even if we don't get a grant?
I don't know, I guess I'll have to clarify that with them and see. But since, then we had the grant, but the grant expired because there was no action taken. And FEMA wanted to know that the county was still involved and,
But we never really had anything planned for that other than just talk.
Well, there was design work and
Well,
I think we had some expenditures on design work that I think we're going to get reimbursed whenever FEMA starts paying the reimbursements back. But
okay. Now, I'm going to have to look into that because, from what I understand, that they're putting in $150,000 towards the road improvement to North Sewell's Point Road.
correct.
Okay.
Commi-
And now you're telling me, well, because we don't have the grant, they're not going to put in the $150,000.
Well, no, I don't know that for a fact because we haven't circulated back to them. We just found out last month that
Okay.
we lost the grant funding. So I wanted to make sure that we got through our budget process and then I'll sit down and have some
We're
conversation.
still going to shoot for the $150,000 commitment.
Right,
All right.
right.
Commissioner Mayfield.
You can disregard that.
Okay. Commissioner Fender.
Just so I'm clear on the 150,000, you're referring to the 2027 150,000 under capital maintenance, stormwater system maintenance?
No,
No.
Where is that? Where's the 150?
It's in the county CIP.
Oh, is it on a different page?
No, it's in the county's budget book, Frank.
Oh, we can't see it.
No,
You just know about it.
You can see it.
Okay, all right,
you can look it up.
okay.
Commissioner Titicus.
Yeah, clarification. Originally, your discussions, I believe, Mr. Daniels, with the county was that they were going to budget 1.5 million, and it was a typo that put down $150,000. Am I correct?
well, that's what I thought, but originally, there's several different discussions that happened over a period of 3 years involving North Sewell's Point Road.
Let's start with the most recent and back
Okay,
up.
the most recent one is our grant dollars that we had that would help us design, and we were trying to get extended, was going to cost $350,000 from each, the county and the town. And the grant writer, or not the grant writer, but the program manager that we were dealing with through FEMA or the Department of Emergency Management, it was probably DEM out of Tallahassee, was trying to get the FEMA grant to cover both halves of the design cost. So at least we could get the design work done, and then if the county decided that they wanted to still pursue DOT funding for the roadway, they could do that, and we could still use the design work for handling our drainage problems from the subdivisions that are along North Sewell's Point Road. That was the last master plan that we had. But since probably 6 months went by with FEMA, and then they said that, no, we can't do that, and, your grant's already expired, so, because originally they were going to extend the grant and, made all these commitments to us, but again, if you don't have anything in writing, it doesn't help. So that was the last one. If you want me to continue backwards, I can.
Get me to the 1.5 mil.
Well, what we had talked about was, 750,000 roughly of design cost and the preliminary permitting and the other stuff, and I think that's where we got into the 1.5 mil.
Okay. Let me take you back to a conversation that you and I had when the first capital budget was floated out that showed North Sewell's Point Road of being somewhere in the neighborhood, and this was prior to Commissioner Burrell asking this be broken out separately, but it was a $36 million project spread out over a number of years. And you had indicated to me that your conversations with the Assistant County Administrator, not George, the other gentleman, I'm blanking on his name,
Matt Graham?
Matt Graham, had been that they were going to budget $1.5 million for North Sewell's Point Road. And at that point in time, I think I told you, I said, well, I looked at the county CIP and they only had $150,000 in there, and told me couldn't be right, had to be a typo, da-da-da-da, so on down the line.
Wasn't a typo.
Right. You were going to go back and check with Mr. Graham. But your conversation with him was that they were going to commit to $1.5 million, not 150,000. And then somewhere along the line between Grimm and Stephanie Worley and Don, something got changed.
Yes.
So, okay. But originally they were going to put in $1.5 million.
That was my understanding at that time, yes.
So next year, Commissioner Burrow wants to move this up to FYE ending 2027. The county CIP gets started to put together somewhere in the time frame of February or March. Are we going to be lobbying them to put in $1.5 million or $150,000?
Well, the 150,000 isn't going to go very far for a project that size. So, the estimates that Joe had were, the 30 to $35 million estimates, and I can't remember the exact number.
Right.
But, that was what it was going to take to do the whole project. The county didn't want to phase it originally, so that's why they were looking at doing the whole project. Well, now, it's Don Donaldson, when I had a conversation with him, was that, they were going to look at other grant opportunities. And, the whole big question got up was, how are we going to split the costs? And I know I even brought that conversation back here to the dais. I don't know if you were on the commission at that time, but that was one of the conversations that I had with them, how are we going to split the costs? And the process, there was, I guess, different ways that the engineers can figure out how you can split costs up. And they were hoping that out of the design process, if we could get the design work done and realize what we actually have to do and what costs we're going to incur, then we can look at, okay, who benefits from this? Is that more the county than the town, vice versa, and come up with some type of idea. But we never got that far.
Okay. So come back to my original question. Are we planning on lobbying the county to put in $1.5 million or $150,000 for their next budget cycle?
I'm not, as we talked about here, my plan is to go and deal with the drainage problems that we have and finding funding through resiliency grants to solve the drainage problems we have. Unless the county comes back and says that, well, we want to partner now and, let's put the road project together. But, it was like beating my head against the wall. So, there's just so many times I can do that, and sooner or later I go to the percussion protocol. So,
I think major part of the problem is I've gotten responses, and the commission in general has gotten responses from 3 commissioners. Our own commissioner, Commissioner Vargas, hasn't returned any of our calls, going right across, including the town manager. She stood us up. She stood up the vice mayor. She stood up our town manager. She stood up Commissioner Mayfield. And I don't know if you put a call into her too. And I haven't gotten a response. I've put in a few phone calls. And it's crickets. It's the only commissioner that has never returned my call to this date. And at first, she was very responsive when she was running, when she first got elected, responsive, but after that, nothing. And she represents our district, and that's a shame. But at least Doug Smith, if I got it, he'd always take my call, no matter what, even though we didn't agree on many things, but he took the call, and we were amicable on that. But I have a problem when a commissioner doesn't return a call. That's not right. No response. And that's not being a commissioner. And I'll leave it at that. And that's a major part. If she would go to bat for us, we already have, I could definitely make it 3, and she'll be the 4th, and we'll get this thing to go through. I really believe that. They start with the commission. The commission's got to pressure the management on the town end. And that's really where it's got to start. And we need her help, and she hasn't even returned a call, so how can we get help?
So
Please, give her a hit.
come back to my original question. Are we planning on lobbying the county prior to the formulation of their CIP for North Sewell's Point Road?
We've all
I
been
think
calling.
that it's been futile, so the answer is no. If I
Yes.
had to give an answer.
We're not going to lobby the county.
No, we have. We've
It's been
tried.
I think that's the message I'm getting. That's the message I have received when I have, that's not a priority.
Not for, especially Commissioner Vargas. She is the problem right now. If she goes to bat for us, and I could get 3 other commissioners to go, that's 4 commissioners, we're in. But it has to be the 4 commissioners. Without her, we're not, it's not going anywhere. And that's the only reason I called her. I wanted to get this done.
Well,
I've tried, the town manager's tried, the vice mayor has tried, Commissioner Mayfield has tried. I don't know if you've tried her, you're welcome to.
I have spoken to her on several occasions and never had a problem getting a hold of her.
Please try, please. I mean, if you could do, that's going to help. If she won't take any of our calls.
Well, personally, I think, if this commission says, we're going, somebody tells you no, take it as a maybe, Dave.
I take it as a yes.
Can I
Because I'm-
interject here? Can I interject here?
Vice Mayor, I'm sorry.
First of all, this wasn't about the $39 million project, okay? Everybody keeps saying, we're gonna work on North Sewell's Point Road. But what's going on was, the original design was, Joe was gonna come in, and he was gonna raise North Sewell's Point Road, and he was gonna do all kinds of pipe work in there, and all kinds of stuff. Well, we did that 20 years ago. And we got a really bad response from that. Because 20 years ago, they flooded out a lot of homes along North Sewell's Point Road by raising it. All right? So you're not going to get a real good response for the second time around, believe me. You're not. This is supposed to be, and I talked to Blake Capps, and he agrees that this is a good concept to start the project, or to look into the project, to fix the retention areas that we need repaired, to fix the swales, create swales. That was the project. This is not the $39 million project. Okay, just to make that clear. Okay, we got a definite no on the project from Martin County. We don't own that road. Okay? By doing it this way, we're doing them a favor, and they're doing us a favor. They're committing some money to us, which we never would have gotten, okay, if we take it and say, okay, we're going to take care of some swales along the right-of-ways, okay? It's no big deal. This is not a $39 million project.
So what are we asking the county to do?
Nothing. We're just asking them to commit the $150,000 that they're committing,
To do what?
so that we could put it aside, so we could start working on North Sewell's Point.
So you're
Swales.
asking the county for $150,000, you want to ask the county for a $150,000 grant.
It's not a grant. Well, okay, you can call it a grant.
It's not a loan.
Well, okay, it's a grant.
Okay. So you want $150K from the county.
Well, that's what they're willing to give us.
All right.
But, I mean, do I want more? Sure, I'll shoot for the moon. But will I get it? No.
I'm just asking for a clarification of what we're asking for.
We're asking, well, I'm asking for the commission to say, let's go for the $150,000 that they're committing that Morton County is committing, and if we get it, then I'd like to put it to that project.
That's in their budget for this year.
Correct.
Okay. We don't have it start until next year.
That's okay. As long as we get something this year, we can start building upon that.
And if what I'm hearing Mr. Daniels say is the county's willing to spend money, but they have not committed to saying we're going to write a check to Sewell's Point.
Well, if they're committing the money, they got to write a check to somebody.
It's a little different, Vinnie. If I say I'm going to commit $150,000, but I'm going to do it by making these improvements.
Well, then
And-
they make the improvements. That's fine. I don't care where it goes, as long as it goes to North Sewell's Point Road and stops some of the flooding.
Okay.
In the
I
past,
don't really care where it goes.
in the past, we've been in their budget, but then when things got crunched, we got pushed to the side.
We're
And-
still in there for 150 for this year.
And next year, we'll possibly get another 150. So by '27, we'll have 300,000 in there. So
But-
that's something to make us the design.
Okay. My only point was, if we're going to turn around and we're going to have an ask, we ought to be very specific about what we want done for that money.
That's right, that's what I'm trying to get across. Swales and retention areas. That's it. No pipes, no road raising, nothing like that. Let's start small, let's start with that stuff. Let's see how far we go. And the commission will go along with that. I can tell you, the commission will go along with it. Now, that's the motion I was making. Why? How was,
Commissioner Brill has a motion. Do we have a second?
Restate the motion.
Go ahead, just restate so this way.
okay. I don't know how I'm going to restate the motion in 10 words or less, but the 150,000 that is committed to North Sewell's Point Road, if it comes through, I'd like to have put into that joint capital projects through a North Sewell's Point roadway improvements for swales and retention areas.
The only, I'm sorry, go ahead, Commissioner Mayfield.
So I can second it if you just mean on the capital improvement plan with a notation that this is the county's money, because it's not in our budget, so.
No,
Okay. I mean, if
I mean, it's a shot, you know, it's
if
just,
we want to make a note on the capital improvement along with the other change of moving in 250, that potentially money from the county, I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Kurzman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burrill,
yes.
Commissioner Finder,
Yes.
Commissioner Mayfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Titicus.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
I think probably what I should do now is read the heading of the resolution 994-25. And that's a resolution of the Town of Commission of the Town of Sewell's Point, Florida, adopting the final millage rate for the, well, I think,
We already did the millage. We're on the budget.
No, we didn't
No.
adopt,
Not the final millage.
we haven't adopted it yet.
I thought we did.
This is for the resolution.
You read it into the record.
So for the final millage rate for the Town of Sewell's Point for the fiscal year commencing on October 1st, 2025, and ending on September 30th, 2026, and providing an effective date and other purposes.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 994-25.
I'll second. That was me.
Roll call.
Commissioner Titicus,
Yes.
Commissioner Mayfield,
Yes.
Mayor Kurzman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burrill,
Yes,
Commissioner Finder.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
just for the record, we do have one member of the public here with us, so if you need
Mr.
to
Graves?
comment on something, please speak up, that you do have a right to comment.
I won't be shy.
Okay, the next order of business is,
Resolution 992-25 revolving line of credit. Town manager.
No,
How
I think
about-
the
how about the
995,
budget?
25.
This is the budget one.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm the wrong line.
995.
That's okay. It's
It's 99
5 point,
5-25, adopt final operating budget for year 2025, 2026.
and it's a resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Sewell's Point, Florida, adopting the final budget for the Town of Sewell's Point for the fiscal year commencing on October 1, 2025, and ending on September 30th, 2026, and providing an effective date and other purposes.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 995-25.
Commissioner Mayfield?
I'm pressing my button to make motions, so it's kind of messing, so I'll second
Sorry.
that. No, that's okay.
Breaking protocol.
Commissioner
My fault.
Titicus?
Had a discussion. As I mentioned earlier at the last meeting, I think that the budget should be recast. As, you know, the finance director pointed out in her write-up, the general fund is under budget as expenses stated on page 5, paragraph 7, 78% under. So I think the budget should be recast using a run rate. I also don't think that we ought to be dipping into $176,000 in reserves for the building department, or the building fund. That the department needs to be evaluated and brought into balance.
Mrs. Pierce?
So the budget is balanced. I presented it as balanced, and I spoke to the commission at the last meeting regarding how we come up with our figures and revenues. So at this point, I do feel that these revenues are the best estimate that I have at this time. During the year, if we see that the figures are going to come in higher, we can do a budget amendment to adjust that later on. But at this time, I do make the recommendation that we move forward with that.
In the 176,000,
The 176,000,
can you explain that?
so basically what we're doing there is that we have adjusted some of the allocations for the salaries to do that, and we've also added audit cost into the building fund, which hasn't been done before, so it's done this year, but we didn't budget for it. You know, so that's
So
what
that
we're
comes
doing.
out of the building fund reserve?
The building fund reserve. The building fund does have the capacity to take on that reserve. And it's better to be conservative when budgeting building permit revenues than to be overinflating those revenues. You know, building permits are dependent on what's going on in the community. Looking at what we're coming in this year, I think we're coming in pretty close to, you know, what was budgeted. But talking with the building official, you know, things could slow down a little bit. And so that's where we're being a little bit more conservative. It can always, you know, we can always get more money, but we do have enough in the reserves to cover the budget of the building department.
Yeah, Commissioner Titicus.
Well, a couple of things. One is the building fund is, and I'm coming back to your report. So expenditures are at the 92% level through 11 months, okay? Revenues are down when you look at the report that was submitted by Mr. Reisinger. And the amount of money that was put into the building fund cost center, that included audit fees, part of Mr. Daniel's salary, part of your salary, and some other expenses, did not come up to $176,000. So, I mean, we have an issue here. Now, I understand what the goal is. The goal is that Florida law states that you can only have reserves that are 4 times the expense level of the building fund. So the goal is to pump up the expenses in the building fund. And perhaps bleed some of it down by utilizing the reserves. If you don't, if you are over that 4 times number, Florida law states that you must reduce your fees. And in the discussion that I've had with Mr. Daniels and Mrs. Pierce, I'm not suggesting that we reduce the fees for new construction. However, every citizen in this town is burdened in some way, shape, or form when they need to replace a fence, when they need to replace a water heater, when they need to go out and pick up a permit in some way, shape, or form. Right now, I talked to a resident today that has to replace a water heater, and between the cost of the water heater and the plumber, they were asked by one plumber for $3,000. Now, when you stop and you consider that on top of that, the town wants $150 for a permit fee, I think we ought to seriously look at reducing the permit fees. So I object to the fact that the building fund is out of balance at this stage of the game, and that we're going to be using reserves.
Can I interject? I just put in a water heater a few months ago, and our building inspector came over to the house. I think it was $100 I paid for the fee for the water heater, if I'm correct.
You're wrong.
I got to look back.
I believe it's
but-
150.
What's that?
I believe it's 150.
150. And to me, it's worth it for peace of mind that somebody's checking the electrical hookup so I don't get a fire. Also brought up where it was sometimes in the building inspector seen it where there's a part on top of the water heater that actually too much pressure, it blows and it'll blow a hole through the ceiling. And, you know, it's peace of mind for people like me that actually doesn't mind having a building inspector check work, because I don't know the guy that's installing my water heater, and also we're taking responsibility, in this case, and I prefer to have a building inspector take a look. To me, it's worth having that, and probably most of the town, you feel more secure when somebody has something like that. I don't want a fire in my house because there's electric involved. It's not just you install a heater and you walk away. There's a little more work, and you're depending on the workmanship of a contractor. So,
With all due
Okay,
respect,
sorry.
Mayor, I think you're conflating 2 different items. The one item, I think the building department needs to be looked at. I'm not talking about having an inspector come out to your house. I'm talking about the cost to the citizens of $150 for a water heater is, I think, we can lower that. Sorry.
that's all right, I got it. Good, Commissioner Mayfield.
Yes. I'm not against examining permit fees, and, you know, we all pay them, so I'm not against that, but right now, for budget purposes, those are the rates, and these are the best numbers to use, given that those are the rates, and examining prior years. I think it was brought up by the mayor before, but it is true that we did have a big construction boom, so I think there was a lot of excess, or I could be wrong, but there's a lot of fees coming in, and I don't think that's necessarily going to hold. So I think it might be prudent to wait a little bit to see how that evens out before you lower the fees. But I think that's a good discussion to have, and it's always helpful, but I just don't think it should affect the budget, because this is the best information we have right now as to how the building department should be.
Vice Mayor.
Well, there was a time when there was no fee or no permit fee to put in a water heater. And that's just recent. So just to let you know, it was like, but I don't think it's wrong to have it inspected. I'm just saying that that's what it was. Okay, now, anybody could put in a water heater then. And if it needs electrical or plumbing, I don't know, unless the homeowner is doing the job himself and he's the contractor, you know, if he's got to pay a plumber and an electrician, it's going to be expensive, I agree. But now let me ask another foolish question here. Jack, you're a contractor's license, right?
No, I don't.
Okay, no. Then him inspecting your wiring may not count at all.
I think.
I'm not saying that wouldn't, I'm not saying that's,
There's certain things that he needs to qualify to become a building inspector. There would be
well,
even.
that's what I want to know.
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm equally qualified.
To-
Jack.
Yeah,
Thank you, please.
come up to the mic.
Jack Reisinger, building official. Your question is, am I a licensed contractor? No, I'm not. Do I have a license to inspect electrical? Yes.
Okay.
Also plumbing, HVAC, and also other structural components. But I've been tested by the state and given the authority to inspect all of those.
Well, that's what I'm answering the question, that you, person that you hire has a permit as well. I mean, has a license as well. Is that correct?
The person that pulls the permit
Should have a
has the license. The person that does the work doesn't necessarily have the license. He's an employee usually of the license holder.
Correct.
And let me ask you a question. How many times have you had quote-unquote contractors or professionals, you've had to correct them, you say this is not acceptable through the years?
Every day I find probably one. Again, it's just
One?
well, one per day, you know.
Okay.
No.
Nobody's perfect, and I don't judge them on that. Sometimes they make mistakes, or their employee makes a mistake. But that's what I'm there for, to make sure they meet the minimum, by the way. That's the minimum, building code.
And as I mentioned last meeting, when my house was built, there were several things that the prior building inspector didn't do. I was supposed to have had impact glass on my sliding glass doors in the back. There weren't. My two doors I have in the back were supposed to be impact glass. They weren't. And that was code, actually. And also, I was supposed to have had a 500-gallon propane tank. It's 200 or 250. So, it's good to have somebody that is competent and actually will look after it. And I've heard from a few of the builders, oh, he's too tough. No, he does his job. There's a big difference between the two, and I'm thankful we have a building inspector like this.
I will say that there's this new trend that's been going on, that they have these permit runners, and they charge a fee, of course, and on top of the permit fee, and it gets added to the cost, which is passed through to the consumer. So you really, sometimes these consumers don't even really know what that permit cost is, because it's just, the total cost is $3,000. Well, what did the tank cost? Probably $700. What did the permit actually cost? $150. But then you had the fee for the permit runner and everything else. But because there was a time where permit runners had to wait in line when there was these booms, and then they started charging for their time for waiting in line. But now that everything's online, there really is but they did not get rid of that charge, and they're still doing that service.
I don't know what I paid. I don't remember what I paid.
Exactly. And as far as I've been here, the fees have not increased for the 5 years that I've been here. So the same fee that we were paying for a permit back in 2000, you're paying today.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jack.
Roll call.
Mayor Kurzman?
Yes.
Commissioner Finder?
Yes.
Commissioner Titicus?
No.
Commissioner Mayfield?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burrell?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
Okay, Resolution 3A, Resolution number 993-25, Florida City Week, October 20th to 26th, 2025. Town Manager.
Yes, this is a resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Sewell's Point recognizing Florida City Government Week, October 20th to the 26th, 2025, and encouraging all cities to support the celebration and corresponding activities of City Government Week. This is a week that they take out of every year and come around and look for different activities that different cities are doing. So, we'll probably be submitting an entry of some of the projects that we work on, not only here, but, we're allowed to look at some of the special events that we have and submit those for recognition.
Any,
Yes. I'll make a motion to approve, do I have to approve the resolution? Yes. A motion to approve resolution number 99325, Florida City Week.
roll call, please?
Commissioner Titicus?
Yes.
Mayor Kurzman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burrill?
Yes.
Commissioner Fender?
Yes.
Commissioner Mayfield?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, now we go to 3B, resolution number 992-25, revolving line of credit. Town manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. A resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Sewell's Point, Florida, authorizing the town to obtain a taxable revolving line of credit from Seacoast National Bank in the principal amount not to exceed $4 million to provide working capital for the town to offset cash flow shortages due to construction payments and payments to the town's engineers pending receipt of grant proceeds, awarding the line of credit to Seacoast National Bank by negotiated sale, approving a loan agreement between the town and Seacoast National Bank, and providing for repeal and conflicting resolutions, and providing an effective date. Mrs. Pierce.
So before the commission, we have a revolving loan of $4 million that it's a line of credit that will only be drawn if we absolutely need this money to help pay for the, construction costs.
Cash flows, right?
Cash flows purposes. We're still waiting on 2 grants to reimburse us. One is in the process of hopefully coming in within the next 30 days. One is still out, still no word on it. There's still no movement. And that's due to FEMA holdups. So it is I did basically verify with the bank. I was asked if this was a fixed rate. It's not a fixed rate. It's considered a floating rate. So every month, it's going to be adjusted. If the rate goes down, that our rate's going to go down. If it goes up, it's going to, go up. Right now, the SOFR rate, I think she was thinking was, 4.33 or 433, and then we have the 150 points. So basically 5.83 as of today. That's what, she was thinking it was. Obviously, that won't affect us if we don't have to pull it. I might need to pull a little bit money in October. That is what I'm estimating. But at this time, I do not know. It'll depend on what the construction does come in, for the month of September. So.
One additional thing, if I may, that we're up against is, during the course of the year, not having to account for the expenditures within a certain date structure. But now that we're at the end of our fiscal year, all the expenses that we have in fiscal year '25 have to be in and accounted for by the end of October. So we are on a kind of a drop dead date to make sure that, whatever monies were expended during that time frame have to be accounted for in the month of October. And we run into that every year. It doesn't matter whether it's a capital project or bills that you get for your gas usage or mechanics or what have you. It's just you have to true up by the end of October.
Vice Mayor.
Can I ask, is there an upfront cost for this?
No,
No, no cost at all?
no.
Okay, I just wondering.
There was an expense because we did have to have the bond counsel involved. So I believe it was like 5,000 to 8,000 is what we were looking at as an expenditure for the bond counsel. But that's just because we're a municipality. It doesn't go to the bank.
We're basically paying $5,000 up front for this line of credit.
Correct. He was the one that drew up the documents.
Yeah, okay.
Commissioner Mayfield.
Yes, thank you guys for doing this. I think it's important to pay your bills on time, and I'm hopeful the grants will come through and that everyone will pay their taxes early. to give us cash flow, but I would make a motion to approve resolution number 99225.
I'll second it.
Did you comment?
A couple questions. One is, have we solicited other proposals other than just from Seacoast?
The answer is no, due to timing on this. So Seacoast, we have previously received a loan from Seacoast, and so, and it was, I know we were talking back and forth. We were hoping, we did not foresee that we were going to have the grant reimbursement issue. So it was truly a timing issue that we are up against at this point.
Well, at this point, but at the time when we authorized, 2 weeks ago, when we authorized you all to go out and take a look and see whether or not you can get a line of credit, I think it might have been prudent, it would have been prudent to approach some other lenders. I mean, when you go for a loan, everybody shops rates. And the interest rates are different, no matter where you're going. If you're going out to buy a car, if you're going out to finance anything. And this is no different. When you stop and you think that at the SOFR rate, plus the 1.5 points that they're nicking us for, comes out to 5.83 if we pulled down the whole $4 million, and it's another $233,200 expense to the town. So,
Town manager.
Just to clarify, we're talking basically from a meeting that we had on the 11th, which would start the next day of the 12th, when we could go out and do all this research and put everything else aside. And, now we're on the 22nd, so, that would basically give us 10 days to go out and do this, taking into account that there's weekend days in there. So, yeah, and I'd love to, be able to do everything we could. We can still continue to look and see what else that there is out there. But, at this point, this is the best thing that we could come forward to the commission with.
If we shop around, it's going to cost us another $8,000.
It
No.
could,
yeah,
but it wouldn't just to get the information, and try to get some type of a rate structure. But if we decided to go ahead to save money, that would be, again, another decision that this commission would have to make. It's a little bit more than I can authorize to spend.
yeah, it doesn't cost any money to shop. And the bond counsel who drafted the documents, the names are changed to protect the innocent. So, I mean, the 5,000 or the 8,000, whatever we spent, we're going to spend it one way or the other, depending on who we do business with.
When is this money due exactly again?
It'll be due in, I think it's December, let's see here, the terms, expire September 20,
December
those are the
31st,
terms, yeah.
2026.
December of 2026. Originally, we were talking 12 months. Like I said, it's only if we need to pull the money.
Would it be hard just to get at least quotes from a few different banks otherwise, just to walk through? Just as long as if there's no fees to do it?
Well, it's great, but we're doing then we got to come back. If you don't authorize this, then we have to come back and have a Plan B if we run into a problem with not having enough funds to pay those bills that we have to have paid in October. And, go ahead, Mariah.
Well, and also, I was just going to say, realize that normal bank loan turnarounds are 30 to 45 days. So our bank worked with us to turn this around literally within 1 week. So, and when I was in discussion with our bank, there was the concern if they were going to be able to turn this around this fast, knowing that commercial credit normally could take up to 45 days.
Well, yeah, that I could appreciate if it takes that long. It wouldn't make sense.
So,
But we can still continue to look at the rates. I mean, this doesn't keep us away from that. God bless you.
All right, roll call. We have a first and a second.
Commissioner Mayfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Fender,
Yes.
Commissioner Titicus?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burrill?
This breaks my heart that we have to take a loan. In 20 years, I've never thought about taking a loan in Sewell's Point.
We still might not have to.
Yes, I have to say yes.
Mayor Kurzman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, now we go to new business. We call it 4A, which is debris management, which was formerly 1C.
Yes, I wanted to put a couple issues on the record. First off, and also to kind of reiterate to the commission that, you know, the steps that we took to try to have a competitive process. We used Demand Star, which is a nationally known organization that publishes our our RFP information, and also has a portal that, you know, that anybody that's interested in bidding can submit. We had it on our website with the RFP information, and we also ran an ad in reference to the RFP. We got 2 responses back. One of them really wasn't qualified. They were answering a lawn maintenance questionnaire, we think, from the city of Lakeland. And the only other proposal that we had was from CapTech Engineering, who currently is doing the same process for us, you know, last year. So I think the key thing is trying to be as open and do the process as we can. You know, FEMA requires that, plus our procurement process requires that. And if I can figure a different way of getting people to submit proposals, I'd love to do that. But we tend to run into that a lot because of the size of our community.
Commissioner Fender.
So we've submitted this RFP in the past, right? We have this, I wonder if it's not possible to solicit the previous bidders in the past and from previous years?
Ryan, do you remember?
If we submitted it to the previous?
Oh, yeah, the previous, that's right, this one in particular, I'm sorry. Whit O'Brien was the name of the company that had this prior, and they gave it up because they didn't want to service a small account. They're a big organization, and they committed their resources elsewhere.
Yep.
Which is, a lot of times you'll run into that with waste debris and waste management companies, because they go to where the money's at.
Yeah.
And, you know, not that, you know, we wouldn't be paying for it, but, you know, they look at the bigger clients, you know, the larger cities, and that's where they go to put their resources.
Didn't we use, I think it was Sunshine several years back?
That's what I'm saying. We've had several different people.
They're debris collection. They'll come in and clear the streets for us and so forth. But this is the monitoring, so by management, they count the trucks and make sure that they're full, and we have to supply these reports to FEMA to get reimbursement for the debris that we haul off. So we're still negotiating with FEMA on, you know, our storm from last year, and, you know, the streets that we had to clean before even the county's dump site was open, and you know, so we just now got a temporary site for when we put the stuff in our back lot until they opened up the county's dump site, and we had to go through that red tape. So, but, you know, by having another organization, they count all the widgets and basically, you know, submit a report and dump tickets and so forth, and pictures, you know, so that's required for FEMA. So it's really a management process, and that's what we're dealing with here, not the actual collection of the debris.
I remember going out there with chainsaws.
Well,
We used to go down the street, if we saw a tree across the street.
that's basically what we did last year, you know, just drug it off to the side, but sooner or later, it's got to get picked up,
Yeah.
and, you know, we actually got our streets cleaner than the county did, you know, 6 weeks later, so.
Commissioner Frank Titicus.
A couple comments. One is, I'm not so sure whether the size of the account is what may be driving the lack of response. I mean, I've heard from several different people that Captech has locked up the town of Sewell's Point, and so why bid? The other thing is, I went back and I reviewed section 2-263, which basically is the bidding process of the town. And the town followed all of the steps it was required to take. The staff followed all those steps. However, even though they followed policy, this doesn't smell right. When you have 3 town employees opening and rating the bids, and no one else is present, and then it gets awarded to a company that we do a lot of business with. So I'm not suggesting that anything was done, but I also suggested to Mr. Daniels earlier today that in the future, he might want to pull in the mayor to sit down and witness the opening of the bids, and if the mayor's unavailable, then the vice mayor, and if the vice mayor and the mayor are unavailable, then another commissioner to sit down and at least observe the process and the waiting process and the rating process. Even though something follows the letter of the law, this doesn't necessarily follow the spirit of the law.
Commissioner Fender.
What's the amount we're talking about here?
I don't think it's any unless there's a problem, right? Unless they have to monitor the debris getting removed.
So what are the parameters of let's say that
I think
kicks
they have
in?
rates or something.
Is it an hourly rate? Is that-
I think so.
Yeah, I believe.
What page is
Can you
that?
tell us anything about the parameters of this contract once it's invoked? Bob?
Yeah, let me pull up the information here. Do you have the submittal there? I just have the,
RFP.
is it in here?
Can I, yeah, it's in the book. One of the things I would just like to make a comment on is the town did have, like the town manager commented, the town did utilize Whit O'Brien. The town also approved back in 2024, I think it was right before the hurricane season, that Whit O'Brien came through. Well, we approved the renewal of their contract. Whit O'Brien contacted the town and said they would not be moving forward with the extension of the contract. So that put the town in a situation where last year we did have to use Captech. They were the second in line, knowing that then we had to go out for an RFP for this year. So, but the town did approve an extension with Whit O'Brien. Whit O'Brien came back and,
I'm just curious what we paid for the service is really what I'm asking.
Is that,
When we used them last year, what did it cost us?
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, we paid
Page 84.
page 84, thank you.
84 and 85.
Do we know what we spent on this service last year?
so you're asking specifically for Captech?
Well, for our expenditure out of the budget in the last several years for this functionality.
I
well,
don't-
the one that we just had with FEMA, do you remember what the management fee was?
so if you-
out of
just
it?
Give me 1 second.
On page 60, you have that, on that addenda,
This is
you
what
have
they're
a number.
projecting The price will be.
Not enough.
Page 60. 35,000, is that the number you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't know if that's exactly,
Yeah.
but it says what estimated or actual dollars are paid to the incumbent after the most recent event.
Now, let me ask a question. If nothing happens, there's no storms and stuff, do we still pay the 263,800?
No.
No.
So that's, yeah, that's pretty important, of course.
And if we follow the process that FEMA outlines for us, we get it reimbursed.
That was my next question.
So the only difference being, I think it's within the first, this year, they had a rule, of within the first 10 days, they reimburse you at 75%. And then after 10 days, it was 100%. But, that's the way FEMA makes a decision, I guess, or DEM, whoever made that decision.
Commissioner Titikus.
Does FEMA reimburse for the project management or just for the hauling?
Both.
Both. So depending on the severity of the storm, that's going to obviously drive the price.
Correct.
Yeah.
Commissioner Mayfield.
Yeah, I would make a motion to approve the CapDeck bid, RFP number 25-002.
And Commissioner Fender.
I was just going to ask if we know what the difference in this contract is versus the previous contract. I mean, this is the 263,800. What did it used to be?
Mrs. Pierce?
So for Hurricane Milton, I have a total of $35,637.50
Okay,
that the town paid CapTech for debris management.
all right. And this contract that, since we only spent 35,000, what was the proposal on the previous contract?
I do
I mean,
not,
was it less or more than 263,800?
was it less or more than, that I do not have.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Do you have a second?
I will second.
Roll call, please. Oh,
I
I'm
have
sorry, the
another
attorney.
question.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to let you all know that if you wanted to, this contract will be very similar to the contract for this service that you've had in the past. We're just double checking any changes to the FEMA regulations and formatting and things like that. So go ahead, this approves this item as presented, approves the ability to contract with this vendor. If you want to have that contract come back to you, you can. Otherwise, you can delegate just go ahead and approve the town manager to sign the contract when it's ready.
And Commissioner Titikus.
So, final question I have on this is the $283,000 a ceiling, or $263,000 a ceiling? So in other words, is it a cost plus not to exceed an amount? Obviously, the severity of the storm is going to drive it in terms of how much time they spend in it. But suppose we had, a storm that required all of the hours that are estimated annual hours. Are we capped off at the 263? Is that our total exposure?
I believe the way that they do their fee structure is on the cubic yards that are collected, because they have to document all the debris that's collected. And the fee that you have here outlined on page 85.
85, 86?
Right,
And
is
87.
based on 60 to 80,000 cubic yards.
Okay, so if it goes over 80,000, we're going to pay more?
Correct.
Okay, that's all.
All right. I guess roll call.
Commissioner Fender?
Yes.
Commissioner Mayfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Titikus?
Yes.
Mayor Kurzman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burrell?
Yes,
Motion passes.
Now we're up to staff comments.
I think the only thing I have that I wanted to mention to the commission and make sure that you're okay. Obviously, I'm had a former job as being a law enforcement officer, and I have an opportunity to keep my credentials up if I can place them with an agency, and I'd rather, place it here in Sewell's Point as a reserve officer here. I wouldn't be paid, there's no additional compensation, but, I do obviously give guidance when I can to the chief when she has a question or what have you. But before I committed to anything, I just wanted to check with the commission and make sure that nobody had heartburn over that, so.
I appreciate your experience.
Does the chief have heartburn over it?
Way back when Mr. Daniels first started here, and he even talked about keeping his certification active, I offered for us to carry, it's called carrying a ticket. It's not at all unusual in police agencies. I do know that when the city manager in Stewart left as police chief, they still carried his ticket at Stewart Police Department, very common. And again, this is a small place, you're talking about hurricanes and that kind of stuff. There may be times where I need a cop more than you need a town manager at a particular moment, and it would be nice to be able to rely on an experienced officer to assist with those things. And then there are things that still come up now. I mean, when we had the semi took out half the canopy in the middle of the road, and he came in from home, it was his day off, it was like, congratulations, you're now going to direct traffic. Here's a vest, and please go do something policey, because that was what we needed at that moment. So I certainly have no concerns. We all work together. He'd be my boss on a normal day-to-day basis, but if he's out there as a reserve officer, he fully understands that in the chain of command, it's myself and the lieutenant. So I think that that's a benefit to us. I do rely on his counsel sometimes. I appreciate his experience. Initially, you never know how that's going to go, and I've considered him to be a huge asset to the police department to be able to have somebody with that variety of experience and in a lot of different places to be able to go ahead and work together and continue to work as the great team that we have here at the town hall.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Our attorney.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify for that last motion on the debris management contract. Didn't feel like we got clear direction if you want the contract to come back or if you're okay with the town manager signing it.
I'm good as is. I made the motion, but I'm good with as is.
All right, thank you.
Commission comments. Go ahead, Commissioner Brill. I see you're trying to reach.
Yeah, trying to find the button. I just have a question. Has anybody heard anything about the discussions on the taxes? The committee was supposed to meet on taxes today and tomorrow. The legislative committee? Because I haven't heard a word.
I haven't heard a word either. I put a call in and haven't gotten a response back. So my guess is they probably aren't going to make any determinations until they finish their hearing tomorrow.
Yeah.
But that's just a stab in the
Just wondering
dark.
if there's anything kicking around.
Probably find out more on Friday, too. So.
There is I think there's a link that they sent us, and you could actually watch the meetings, which I didn't have a chance to, that they had.
When you say
I don't
they,
know.
do you mean the League of Cities or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Titikus.
I feel like I'm the only one talking tonight, but anyway, I want to thank Mr. Daniels because he gave me a copy of the policy and procedure on the stormwater maintenance, and so that's under wraps, although he's going to expand it a little bit. The other thing is the poll of the 368 homes, has that been sent out?
Yes, and we're starting to get some feedback, so hopefully I'll have a report at before the next meeting.
Was it mailed out to all these homes?
Mailed out, plus we also did a constant contact where we just keyed in on the homes that are part of that 366 area.
Okay. You got an email?
My neighbor's got emails too.
Well, we don't have everybody's email in town, so I'm
No, that's
glad
why
you
we
mailed it
mailed
out
it
also.
and did
Okay.
that, so, and
Great.
they're cross-checking it, so you only get, one stab at the survey,
And then
say stab.
I raised an issue last at the last meeting about the Giffords-Webster report, and where is it? And I had a conversation with Mr. Torsivia before this meeting, and he, I guess, has had a conversation with you, Bob, and also with Joe Capra. Said that should have it by the end of the week. And just to point out, and I gave this information to Mr. Daniels earlier today, 31 August 2022 at the 12:50 mark, Mayor Tom Peck stated that the report was in and all the options were listed. CapTech was going to condense it as it's too complicated. And then again on 11 October 2022 at the 42-minute mark, Mayor Tom Peck again referred to the Giffords-Webster report. So it's out there, contrary to how the town responded to a public records request, that no such report existed.
I did go back on those 2 dates that you gave me. The one date, we couldn't find the report, so I need to get with you to make sure I copied it down correctly. The other date, there was conversation from the mayor at the time, John Tompeck, and he talked about there being a consultant that was utilized, and then talks about the report, but he was talking, I took it, he was talking about the report that we have a copy of, that is the one that CapTech did for us. Again, it's, you know, I'm more than happy to sit and listen to it with you, Commissioner, and we can go through it. But you know, believe me, if there's a document out there that, you know, I want to make sure we fulfill the public records request. That's what I'm working towards.
I look forward to seeing it.
You and I both.
Yeah, I'd like to get that over with. I think we all want to see it now.
Yeah.
Anything else?